All right, hey everyone, this is Andrew Macht. Just reaching out to you to kind of discuss the recent export documents that I've created for DaVinci Resolve as well as Adobe Premiere to Pro Tools. I just wanted to more so elaborate on the side of it of showing how all this information, all this metadata affects Pro Tools. That's what I wanted to kind of show and elaborate a little more on. So as I'm starting to get it set up here, I just wanted to start running through the doc itself. So looking over at the two documents here, there's definitely a lot of information that's crammed into here. But it's more like just a big picture book. If I removed all these pictures, it's fairly small. But a lot of this information makes it so a sound editor's job is a lot more easy on them. So I just wanted to share kind of some of the examples that I see in Pro Tools and just give an overall idea of how that's going to affect the end result of the dialogue edit, and even further down the line, sound effects edit, the mix, Foley, or any other side of audio post that another team member would touch on a audio post team. So let's go straight into Pro Tools. I guess I'm going to use probably the document as guide as I explained through here. On top of this export sheet, I also did want to just touch base on a spec sheet that I also use to elaborate more on some of the things that we would commonly see. Hold on, I don't know why this Dropbox icon's popping up. But anyways, I wanted to elaborate more on the spec sheet as well. So the export doc is actually based on this spec sheet and kind of revolving around it. And then the export doc is more of an explanation on how to make all this happen. There are 13 items in total within a spec sheet. And starting from the top down, we got lock picture. Then we're getting a separate video export, an OMF or AF, depending on what metadata is available in your session. Usually I'll review your film beforehand and then go further into telling you what I need or what I expect in order to make the transition from video to audio post happen. Then we also have a discussion of creating individual reels for the film, but it depends on how big your session is. I normally only require reels after we go 30 minutes and over. Anything 30 minutes and less, we do not break the entire film into reels. Delivery of materials would be hard drives, any sort of FTP and streaming service that you can hand off any of these materials over to me. Then we're talking about production sound, sound reports. Sometimes I'll generate the sound reports on my own if I do not get those from a production sound mixer. The sound reports help me establish an overview of what's going on within the session and having a wider list view glance at all the assets that are available to me. I do review reports, picture EDLs and sound EDLs. I'll more so explain that, but that gives me an overview of everything that's going on in an NLE or video editor's timeline. It doesn't matter what NLE you're using, if that's Premiere, DaVinci, Final Cut, all that's there. Then we also have specifications on how a film is shot. That's just a lot of the notes, shot logs, and so on about kind of an overall idea of all the material for the video that's going to be available to me. So that way it's a lot easier to handle those assets as well. And then notes from director and most update line script, plus a list of character names and who played them. That helps with ADR. So this is just a quick discussion right now of the spec sheet, but wanted to more so dive into what the export doc is requiring specifically, and touching base on how that metadata affects my edit in Pro Tools. So starting from the top, I begin discussing about setting a session start time within the production workflow. So having your session start at the 1 hour marker, then the 00 line, helps me indicate, especially when we're breaking up into reels, how many reels we have and what reel we are on. So we would start a reel 1 at hour 1, and then next reel would be at hour 2, and then hour 3, and so on, depending on how many reels it takes to complete your film. And then reels get separated between 15 and 20 minutes, and that is a discussion and flexible based on finding those transitions in the film where it's silent. So that way we're not cutting on a reel where we know a music score is going to be over and where a sound effect over. So that way we can split these reels up very easily and stay organized, and that way there's nothing that's going to overlap. So that way we're not trying to crossfade in the video edit. And then we can really make a easy transition when we're doing the final export and making the master print for your entire project or the DCP. So that's why you're setting your session start time is very important. And then within discussing further about setting your session start time, I too also have to set mine within Pro Tools through the session start time setting within our session setup window within Pro Tools. And how I actually can see what your session start time is when we go in and choose to import a new AAF specifically. It'll give me information of everything that's going on with that session. So let me actually move for this film to the AAF real quick, just to show you how I see that. So here we can see that the start time of the film is 59:52:000. If my start time was not set to that, I'd get a warning letting me know that my start time's out of bounds from this. But this affects me globally to what you guys are doing as well on the video side. So that's how we kind of stay connected as a community within the post timeline. And other things that we can see here as well is the frame rate and all the tracks that will be sent over from your session as well. So the other things that we want to get into is setting the SMPTE leader head and tail. The SMPTE leader consists of a 2-pop and a countdown leader, letting us know from film start and allows time to ramp up to the 2-pop. So we have a 2-pop at the front and the end of a film. The front of the film is going to, let me see if I can jump to that. So we have a film actually imported within my Pro Tools session. So we can actually look at that. I believe I should, there we go. So this is the 2-pop marker. when the 2-pop plays back, you'll hear a beep. I can't recall if I set the session setup so it allow us to be able to hear that. But actually, I might be able to set that up here. I'm not going to go into that. More just here to explain all the metadata that we need for this film. Yeah, just double checking to see what you are able to hear here. Yeah, so I didn't set up this session to have you listen in. I was just double checking that real quick. Anyways, so the 2-pop gives me a visual cue and as well as an auditory sync point. We place one at the beginning to lock sync, and then place one at the end of film to maintain that sync. The 2's flipped upside down to let me know that this is a tail slate, kind of similar how you would actually slate on set. So the 2-pop is going to be at the front end to also ensure that we don't have any sync drift in the film as well. So as long as this 2-pop is 100% golden on the first frame of the 2, we'll be 100% accurate. So that's why that's also important for us in this document. And then going further down in the document, we're going over the DaVinci one here. Oh, yes. I believe okay. The video export is the next thing here. I kind of just showed this a little bit, but the reason we request DNx HD and Apple ProRes is because it's the most uncompressed video format. So Pro Tools, when we go into jogging or scrubbing through the audio, every time we have to enable that feature through Pro Tools, it has to uncompress the video. So if I received an 8.264, it's going to have to uncompress that H.264 then for it to be able to play back. Having a compressed video in Pro Tools causes jitter with the videos, so it's not a smooth and linear action when scrubbing. You'll start jumping frames all over the place as I'm moving between the timeline. So you'll probably see something as it kind of jumps around like that as I'm doing it. This film that's currently loaded into my timeline, I made sure to request that we have a Apple ProRes 442, so that way it's easier on Pro Tools to streamline this. So right now, H.264, MP4 video, they all play fairly smooth with Pro Tools, but when we get down to the nitty-grittiness of the edit, we wouldn't be able to have a linear transition here with these smooth jogs. I'm actually doing this. I have a jog wheel here in front of me on a board that I'm currently working on, which, let me see if I can disconnect here. So I'm working on a board that actually allows me to shuttle through the timeline of Pro Tools. I wouldn't be able to have these smooth frame-by-frame interactions using this jog wheel if I was using an H.264 video or any other compressed video format. So that's why it's important to give a high-res video for Pro Tools in order for us to work better. Set that back up real quick. The next things I wanted to discuss on here, and it's actually a good time to discuss this. Let me get out of Scrub and Shuffle. Or Shuttle. Keep on saying the wrong thing. So let me explode this video up a little bit. So the next thing is part of the export requirement is to have a burn-in. The timecode burn-in gives me positional reference for me and you to discuss the film. It also does help me sync as well, but the main purpose of the timecode burn is for positional reference. I use a streaming platform for uploading video content to called Frame.io. Frame.io allows me to generate timecode within the video and us to comment in real time about anything that's happening within the film. So that's why I ask and request to always have a timecode burn-in, because positional reference, then we can go anywhere within the film and then discuss kind of sound effects that are needed, dialogue edits, visual cues, anything like that. I mean, this also applies to the video edit as well. The timecode burn-in allows us to literally, instead of go to minute, second, this allows me to go by frame and tell me where to end a cut and to start a cut, and etc., or add stuff to. Positional reference is what that timecode burn is for, and it's very important to get that in to the video that is sent over in this Apple ProRes export. Next on the list, I'm going to guess it's probably going to be the AF, just flying through here and kind of reglancing. So yeah, the next thing here is discussing the AF export. The AF export contains the any music cues that you have loaded within the NLE, any sound effects that you've added, as well as all the production sound. I bring in the music and sound effects that were added during the video edit through an AF export. The AF export gives me a good overview of the session and can compile all that together. Then when we get down to, and that's a very quick reference over this, but then here, let me actually get rid of the video real quick. Let's see. Oh, we got the jog on. I have in here the original AAF. Here it is. This would be good to show. So I wanted to open up the original AAF of this session before I got involved with the actual edit. So this is what the AAF looks like. And there's a lot of different export options that need to be followed. And if all of the export requirements of the AAF are met, I'm able to grasp, and this is where it's very, very important, I'm able to see all the metadata spilled out from the field recorder. So during the production on set, we, as a field recordist, location audio person, we're able to enter all sorts of metadata, including the file name, which is relevant to the scene, shot, and take that is currently happening on set. And then on top of that, every audio channel that's available on these recorders can also be labeled, and they can be used either for your mixed left and right channels, your boom, and your lavs as well. So we can see in here we got boom, and then we actually labeled a lav by character name. And then we also exported the mix track, which is your stereo left and right channel, into what's called a polywave file. So that's why it's spilled out like this. This is called a polywave. And this is kind of the overview of how it looks when it's laid out into tracks within NLE or Pro Tools. But what's really nice about having the flexibility of having all this metadata now is I can grab one of these files and then use what's called Field Recorder Guide Track. Field Recorder Guide Track, I should have one in here, right here, Field Recorder Workflow, lets me pick out all the channels that are associated to an audio clip in real time. So if I expand this so you can see it a little further, I can select this clip, and since I already have Field Recorder Guide Track enabled, so you right click on the track, and then right here is called Field Recorder Guide Track. You have to enable this to get the feature to be expanded upon. And then we select area to search, which is where the original production sound is. So part of the export requirement is for me to receive all the original production sound audio with the AF export. So that way this is possible for me to be able to explore all the different alternate takes that were used, as well as all the different channels that were used. So once I have this area, search area identified, then it allows me to expand upon all the different metadata that's inside the audio file that was recorded by the field recorder. And these are several of the different options that when I'm doing this method, it's looking for all this different information. Now, if these export requirements aren't met or some of these things aren't checked, it breaks the link to that metadata. So if the file names change, that breaks the metadata. If you nest an audio clip, that will overwrite the audio, and then that will create a new audio clip in your timeline. That breaks the link to all this metadata. And or if you're using multiple timelines in DaVinci, DaVinci only sees the top level during an export and not all the subdivisions and all the different channel options within the timeline that you're working in currently. So we want to explore getting all these options checked within these exports in order for this to happen. So since I already have a lot of this enabled and established within this Pro Tools session, I can now use a shortcut key, or I can right click and then go to matching by field recorder channels. Now this is where it gets cool, is in real time, this will, and within its place, I'll be able to hot swap the current selected boom track for any of the given lav tracks. And so now we're, instead of listening to boom, we're instantly listening to the lav. And the only way this is done is by having that metadata enabled with an AF. And so that's what's very, very important with making sure that the exports are clear and defined, because it tries looking for all this different information within this audio clip. So now that we got through talking about the field recorder guide track, I'm going to move further upon this and now talk about, hey, what if this take here, so we're looking at 3A take 7, what if I don't like 3A take 7? What if I want to go and choose something else? Now we use another software, and this is where EDLs come in. EDLs then allow me to rebuild the entire timeline and link to the metadata that's available through the NLE and all the production sound files. And it'll actually scan for anything related to 3A, and then it'll give me all my different options. The software that I used is called Kraken, Kraken Dialog Editor's Toolkit. But before I show Kraken Dialog Editor's Toolkit, I want to explore the EDLs. So let me go into a folder here and show you directly what an EDL looks like without having the software that I have. Anyone can open up an EDL. You and I, you can use Notepad on Windows, and you can use text edit within Mac. And so if I open this text edit, you can see it's a bunch of information, a lot of timecode references. The first set is based on what the field recorder is doing. The second set is based on what the timeline of your video editing software is, your NLE. And then it tells me the clip names and everything that's used and the metadata, reels, etc. Anything that you tell it to spit out, I'll be able to read that information. And that's actually, it's also really important about an EDL. So there's a lot of stuff in here that's very, very useful for compiling an EDL. So now that you kind of got somewhat of a gist of an EDL, the software I use is here. This is called Kraken. Kraken Dialog Editor's Toolkit. So within Kraken, we are allowed to import all the original production sound files here, and that's what's showing up here, and those EDLs that are showing up here, and now it's in a very easier and viewable format. And we can see all the different sound file names and the link to those sound file names, and then how the EDL will be split up once cleaned up and exported. This is where it gets interesting, because now in here I can go through and find 3A very quickly by either typing it in, or if I link my session to Kraken, I'll then even further be able to explore these. But now I can come in here and find different parts, and I can spot this audio straight to Pro Tools. And now 3A take 5 is being used in the place, just like that. Straightforward. We were originally listening to 3A take 7. So this is why it's amazing to be able to have all this metadata. I'm able to switch out my alts and be able to see all my alternate takes. I can link to the Pro Tools session, which is EOMTDX, which is here. And then I will also now be able to jog the entire session, and it's going to start selecting those takes that are currently active within the session. So it instantly jumps me around to all this information, and just really makes the dialogue edit go smooth and give me the best options for you during this edit, so that way I can really stack everything going forward. And some of the workflow that I do is I will layer your boom track with your lav track, and then instead of using some digital reverb, I'm now going in and actually mixing in the natural room of the location you shot at versus me using something authentic or synthesized, not authentic, synthesized. And that sounds a lot more natural. It gives me a lot more control in the mix and makes things go even a lot smoother for the edit, because now I have access to all the different scenes, shots, and takes that were compiled on set, and I can really, really quickly explore all the different options to me. So the other things that can be explained here, I think that covers everything. So I just wanted to ensure that before I call it quits on this explanation. I wasn't expecting to go so long, but I did. But the other things, like I mentioned, which is also on the spec sheet at the end of this, is make sure that all the original production sound files are part of the package. Sound reports, I can generate those. I didn't actually touch on this. But what's also awesome, if I do not have sound reports from you, I can also aid in creating those myself. And I can go in and find the original production sound that was sent over to me, grab all these files, drag them into here. Just accidentally click the button. And then I will be able to create a sound report showing me all the different stuff that's used, and it'll make it in a PDF format. And let's see here, I don't think I have one on my desktop, so let's put it on my desktop just to show what that looks like real quick. So this is a sound report. So I review this to see a very good and quick, dirty overview of everything. Kraken gives me a lot of information that's similar, but it's nice to be able to just have a one quick glance over document as a whole, so I can just see everything in a bigger list format like this. So this really gives me, hey, if I'm missing anything, like you might have called me and said, hey, we're missing 3C, take 3. I'll be able to pull this up real quick. And if I don't see it in here, then I know that's not part of what I was sent. Or maybe the location audio person that you're working with maybe didn't hit record, or file got corrupted. Something could have happened. It's always a guessing game when it comes to audio posts and trying to figure out what we need. And then let's go back over to this doc. Sound reports, then the director's notes, which would be any changes that you want to request in the film. Script. Script is very important for me to have as well, the most up-to-date script that's related to the current edit. So that way I go through the script even on my side when I'm picking out those alts. I try maintaining the work that was already done with the video edit as much as possible, but if there's faults, I try finding alternates. The script allows me to maintain the most accurate audio clips chosen for you related to what is on script. So I review the script while I'm also doing the dialogue edit. And then lastly, a list of character names and the actors who played them. This is for ADR specifically. It's more so for it so I don't make a fool of myself when going out and requesting this. I know who you are, I know what character you played, and I'm actually calling these things out. That's what this is for. It's just a good safety net, and for me to be able to quickly just call these people out instead of getting confused in the film who they are. That's all. But yeah, this is the end of the film. It kind of went longer than I was expecting to. Trying to stay as organized. Oh, another thing that I didn't explain is another important one for us. So in the case of an edit needs to be changed after picture lock, this is also where EDLs are very important and getting them up front when I'm sent the first round to work on. But if picture lock is ever broken in a film, for whatever reason, changes were made, VFX were updated, anything for whatever reason was changed, I'll be able to take in account the original EDL from my beginning edit, and then a current new edit, new version cut for the film that we were working. The software that I use is called Matchbox. Matchbox allows me to create a reconform of my entire Pro Tools session. The software does it for me instead of having a manual process. So if we scroll through here, one second here, just want to go to where we can actually see a picture change in here. That's what I was trying to get up to. But here we can see a picture change. So on the left side of the video here is going to be the original picture, and the right side, the far right side screen, is going to be the new picture cut, and the center is telling me what changes are made. So it's actually combining the two images together and identifying, hey, there's something different here. And if you look at the right video, it's showing me an overview of where that change is. So then we can hit play here, and you can see the different cuts in the video here. And this gives me an idea of where the picture change is. But what's awesome about this is the software will scan my Pro Tools session and then spit out and re-edit the entire session for me, instead of me making a manual process. So if we had an entire 2-hour film where we had to do this, this would be a pain in the butt to get all this done. With having a software like this and being able to have access to EDLs, I'm able to compile and re-edit your entire film very, very, very quickly by having this software and having it review the entire film for me. So that's what makes this also very important for us to have all this metadata as well. So that's the last thing I wanted to show you. Hopefully this video is a little more clear of where this is. It was kind of dry, but believe me, there's a lot more information to ingest than what I'm going over here. This is kind of just a quick enough overview. It goes deep into the abilities that really help me during an edit and cleaning up audio throughout the entire project that I get. Anyways, thanks for listening to me going on a rant about all this, and I appreciate your time, and have a good one. I am going to end